Hi, this is Katie Oshiwanita with Harmonizing Journey to Realignment Seminar and Sessions. And uh, Happy holidays, Happy New Year. Um, the topic today is basically the Emerald Founders Eyaga life cycles and the cultural epochs on the evolution of the soul. And Eyaga, Eyugha, a little bit different than the other one that most people know about, which I think has a lot of good information, but it's not as accurate and precise as I feel what this is. I think the other one kind of leaves some stuff out, but it does give a general feel of the cycle process with the golden age and so forth. Um, oh, and yeah, I got a little knocked on my butt in November energetically, but I'm doing really well and holding my own and making it to the next level with all these wonderful activations that have been coming in. Um, okay, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. So, everyone wants to make out like their way, right, is the right way, and everyone else is the wrong way. I don't like to say that. I prefer to see where all the pieces fit together, see where they line up, and see where they don't, and why. So everyone has a part of the puzzle, right? All these different organizations and groups over time. So everyone is basically it. Capital I, capital T is the all that is, God Source First Eternal, Ia. Everyone has their own ancestral lineage and how they express it. Okay. In my opinion, okay, Steiner, let's see, sorry. Steiner did an excellent job studying the Eastern and Western initiation science to develop a well-rounded esoterica Christianity of the solar rishi sciences or anthroposophy or Keylontic. I remember being his student. I have a lot of memories of quite a few memories of that um, in a previous lifetime. And that was kind of an interesting, rough go of it around World War II, into World War II, and so forth. And I have now picked up where I left off in my initiation uh, as studies, in my own personal initiation studies. I am so grateful that I live in a lifetime where I can also incorporate the Lost Keylanta science back into the ancient initiation sciences. Okay, because yeah, we've been lost with that. Okay, I have combined Steiner's work of what he refers to as the cultural epochs and Keylontic science via Elements of Discovery, A&A Deane 2010, and other Arrayist Productions information on the Eyaga cycles. Okay, we are starting within our Eckasha Aaha, aka Eukatharista body, within the outer radon light body God worlds. This Eckasha Aaha has many time matrices within its structure. It birthed from the inner light body domains of the Etons core, okay, which is the Etons core, the spirit body, and then out into the Adons of the inner, and then Edons of the middle domains. These middle domains are collectively known as the Hubgates of the God worlds, and then we are in the Outer Radon. So our holographic reality is that outer light body structure, but we go within the middle, Hubgates, inner and core of our eternal core of our being. Okay. we would be considered the atomic light body, right, structure of the EtorA Outer Radon fields. The AdorA Radon Anti-particle etheric body runs counterclockwise, okay, to our clockwise EtorA body field at a slightly different angular particle spin rotation. These two bodies revolve around the inner domain Hubgates and cycle through each other. Okay, and that I got from the Elements of Discovery, A&A Deane 2010, page 76. So that core. So we have basically the particle universe, that this materialistic structure, and then we have the antiparticle, which kind of runs like this, and they cycle through each other to make the particle, particum, the light, the sound, and the un1, basically, in a nutshell. Okay. Now, the following information is taken from the Tantric Ahura teachings, the path of biospiritual artistry, Shift Masters Course 1, Secrets of Effie, The Hidden Powers of Consciousness, Concave and Convex Reality, Cave Dwellers, The Ancient Ancestral Code, and The Cloak of the Arianya. It was a workshop done on December 18th through the 22nd, Sarasota, Florida, 2013. And I utilize Rudolf Steiner's work from a variety of resources from Rudolf Steiner Press Audio YouTube channel. I highly recommend you, going to his website and starting to watch, because he, in his own words, utilizing kind of his own guidance as well as reading the ancient doctrines of the Buddhists and Maharata, and just a wide range of different doctrines, as well as the Western older doctrines. And he just kind of puts it all together and really kind of gives a different picture of who Jeshua is or was, and how important he was and how important he is today, because really Jeshua, as we know from Chelonic science perspective, really represents our ancestrally lineage to connect with our Christos avatar, D12 Maharata self. Okay, so there's so yeah, you're going to get it all between the two of them and Gigi Young, and yeah. So we are looking at the Hare Risha, Reisha, Iradana, Eiradhana vector body. So vector as in time, construction. The Rasha dark matter, pre-matter, radiant, and Akusha pre-substance consciousness emanation. Basically becoming an Adashi adept. And that's what we've been, or who we are, in this whole domainal structure I just talked about. In breath, out breath of the all that is, and all parts of that self of who we are, branching out, expanding, individuating, yet still within that eternal core. Which is how we get the I am. Alright. So we first start out with the Ra Le Eyaga. Okay. And again, there's not time. So these are cycles, right? So in that cycle, we have the atomic evolution of the angelic human's physical body. And another way you could say the Orifim would be another term. I may end up changing, and well, no, I'll still use the angelic body. It's still it's the basic genome for this earth plane, and then added on other lineages with that, but at our root, we are the angelic human. And there's an organic angelic human, apparently, and we know there's a fallen angelic group of it, okay? This cycle correlates to the core Eton domains of creation of the Rasha dark matter, pre-matter ether body, moving into our time matrix within the Eckasha Aaha, Eckasha A, and the Eckasha to our Eka time matrix where we're at now. Okay. Spheres within spheres within spheres. Okay. The blueprint for this time matrix, and again, don't worry about, for those that are not into chelonic science, don't worry about, oh my god, all these terms. They're going in your DNA, activating and waking you up. And there's plenty of material to study that I don't need to, that I don't need to do. Okay. Okay. All right. The blueprint for this time matrix was envisioned by our Janus primal sound field, the Trinity, and the primal light field of the solar rishis in our Eka system of density 5, 950 billion years ago. This created our Veka system with Aramatena density 4, our Maharata D12 avatar expression. May also be associated with the ancient mysteries reference to ancient Saturn by Rudolf Steiner. Maybe. I'm still trying to figure it out. Okay. Within that cycle, okay, because it continually cycles through. All right. At different levels, but it's still these basic cycles. So you have the most etheric, spiritually type cycle in the beginning that I just read. And then looking at, from an epoch standpoint, our current post-Atlantean epoch cycles via Steiner. So, the old Indian age, this age began in the spring of the age of Cancer of the waters, after the waters were deluged in Atlantis, a dream-like consciousness with instinctive connection between spirit and atomic state, seeing life from picture imagination as divine spirit weaved into the physical. They felt every action as an expression of the cosmos filled with divine spiritual weaving. So basically, when you read these ancient doctrines and you try to read them from today's perspective, no. Which is another thing right now, trying to decipher those ancient texts in regards to the angelic human. Some of it I think they're getting right, some of it not, because they're still coming at it from this today's perspective, materialistic, analytical, abstract thinking way, and it doesn't fit the way they thought back then. This state did not filter what it takes in, spiritual forces. This means they were vulnerable to the reversed matrix, Ahriman, and Luciferic forces. The seeds of good and evil were sown. Okay. Which was actually as well in Lemuria time too. So anyway, the astrological age, from Steiner, from this perspective, is the astrological age of Cancer, thorax, midsection, lungs, feeling breath, inward communion with breath, feeling inner being, deeply co-vibrating with thorax, time of innocence. The planet moon in the house of Cancer, sexual organs, sacral sphere, innocent, deep connection with the sexual organs, sacral, elemental, D2, womb space of creation, a plasmatic heat stage of development. And I realized later kind of thinking more about it. Um, that's the epoch for the post-Atlantean epoch. I'm wondering if it may not coincide with the, how the astrological cycles. Obviously, Cancer's not first. So I don't know. It really kind of tells you how fucked up we are. But anyway, reference to the apocalyptic, which I will get more into, and of course in regards to Steiner, with part 4, which I will bring more, or I'll bring into the Chelonic science, which has a very different perspective on it. Okay, but this is just to kind of give you a little bit before to get kind of ready. Kind of a outline introductory. So the first introduction or seed of the intellect is and again this is Steiner. The first introduction or seed of the intellect is represented as the white horse in the Apocalypse, upon which man rode carrying his bow and arrow and wearing a crown, chakra, of the conquered and conquering of the mind. And again, I will get more into that in the next one, which will be sometime in the new year. The next cycle is the Eyaga, and again we're down, stepping in it, okay, cycle right now. So it's going from being really etheric, spirit-based to light body as we go down, and then there'll be a cycle going back up, which correlates to the other Eyaga cycle. But this gets, to me, just fits better with the epoch structure than the other one did. I couldn't get the other one to fit with the epochs the way I was happy with. Alright, so the etheric atomic body is within the inner Adon domain. This cycle correlates to the Polarian and Hyperborean epoch of Gaia density 3 oversoul, thermal hydrogel radiation state. Okay. According to ancient mysteries, during the Polarian into the Hyperborean epochs, the Earth was still bound up in the ancient Sun etheric atomic body and the ancient Moon astral body. We were in a delicate ether state, no organs like we have now, only the seeds of organs to be developed. So a lot of people that, and this of course is Steiner, a lot of people that, have past life regression and think they're off in another planet, chances are they're still on planet Earth. Okay. Okay. The Amenti mission seeding 1, root race number 1, Polarian strands, half strands of 1, 7, 12, HU3, so harmonic universe 3, D7 etheric particle, Gaia, 25 million years ago. This is from Voyagers, The Secrets of Amenti, Volume 2, page 45. And then, okay. Root race number 2, Hyperborean, half strands 1 through 7. I guess it was 1 through 7 with the other one. 1 through 7, then through 12. I take that back. 1 and 7, then 7 through 12. HU3, D7, etheric antiparticle. So you're always going to have your particle and your antiparticle together, but in their own slight developments. Antiparticle Gaia, 25 to 20 million years ago, Voyager's Secrets of Amenti, Volume 2, page 445. Okay. And now we're looking at the current post-Atlantean epoch cycle, I should say, by Steiner. So next, the Old Persian Age, the Age of Gemini, when we began to feel the split in polarities of opposites. The light and the dark, the good and the bad. Our connection with the cosmic consciousness became watered down as we started to nurture the ego identity of the intellect. We looked to balance the scales between the forces and the cosmic forces. That didn't make sense. Kind of like a flock of birds. From a distance, it looks like one huge identity, but when you get closer, you can see the individual birds right up close. Also, the seed of evil from the previous epoch manifested, started jalizalize now as good. That's where we get the good versus evil forces. The harmonic forces kind of had more of an identity in the religious order. The light of the solar forces of of Ahura Mazda against his polar opposite harmonic forces. Lastly, it becomes a twofold religion of philosophy, as in Philo of deep heart love and Sophia of cosmic universal knowledge. Now, we're not looking at an intellectual appreciation of science knowledge when we're looking at philosophy. We're talking about a deep love for knowing who one truly is as the all that is. Not is there an all that is there a God, but knowing what that is and who we are because we feel it. We felt it then. We knew it. We just were trying to figure it all out here, but we knew where we came from. We still had a strong memory. Okay. And again, this is also very Chelonic science is authentically about as well, the true philosophy. The astrological age, again with Steiner, astrological age of Gemini, the twins, symmetrical relationships between right and left, the right and left hand, cosmic heaven of the polarities of light and dark. An example would be 2 eyes for vision instead of 1 eye. The 1 eye corresponds to what we now consider the third eye connection to the pineal gland during Lemuria. Okay. The planet, Mercury. The lower body, digestive tract, receiving physical and spiritual nourishment from the outside, food. The belly brain. Spiritually atavistic, blood vascular nourishment, the instrument of cosmic knowledge, discernment, and the beginnings of actual, real, original astrology, not what we have now. At the beginning of the Hyperborean epoch, polarity was split between, and this is just because remember, it's a cycle, so I'm predominantly talking about the epoch, but current epoch cycle, but also within that, and again I'm referencing Stein material to separate it out from Eyages when I do that. So at the beginning of the Hyperborean epoch, polarity was split between positive male electrical Manet and negative charge female Ire currents. Both sexes were still in one body. Both communicated with each other to find the balance between the two charges. The balancing form constant of the Manu, the Un-One, of the Sun Divine Love was slowly removed to allow the earth field to become the new form constant, the Manu field within its new I, soul spirit forces. Okay. Root soul, beginning to evolve on a higher level of more individuation, more expansion, more higher evolved development. Okay, reference to the Apocalypse by Steiner. This cycle or seal is represented in the Apocalypse as the red horse, of the intellect upon which man rode holding his sword to purge or cut out what is not necessary or compromised. Also, there is a reference to Christ holding the two-edged sword in his teeth. Christ symbolizes our Christos Maharata D12 expression in its balanced Manu form, constant state. Okay, so form constant of the electrical magnetic. What really makes the Trinity, light, sound, un, one? The electrical, the magnetic, what can hold them in balance? Okay, and that's what we're really designing is with the Earth, is that in this whole time matrix that goes with it, to sustain as a new form constant. That's what I keep getting over and over again, guidance wise. So anyway, right. The next cycle, Chalet Eyaga, okay, telluric atomic body within the middle Edon domain, crystalline electrothermal vapor state. So we're getting a little bit more densified. Lemuria would correlate with this life cycle when the ancient moon astral body D4 separated from the Earth. The ancient moon was causing the physical forms to become too crystallized and hardened. If the ancient moon had stayed, life on Earth would have become mineral stone. That actually is a little bit on the Steiner side. The first physical forms of what we have now were formed during this period. Towards the end of this cycle, a physical separation of the sexes did finally occur. We were grotesque-looking, jelly-like animal forms. We lived in a hydrolase water-like substance that we breathed and received nourishment. Another way of saying that is we were breatharians. Okay. The seed of the individual I, ego, to separate from the group soul identity was introduced, becoming more tribal divisions. This marked the official end of the ancient moon phase of the development of the astral body and the beginning of Earth's development. Okay, I did say that. Sorry, of the I ego, the soul identity. Oh, I ego, soul identity, or I am. Okay. The Amenti mission, seeding 1. We then had the number 3 Lemurian strands, 2 developed 15 million years ago. Yeah. 15 million, or 15, yeah. Yeah, 15 million years ago. Or 15000, comma 000. I'm going to say that 15 million years ago. Cloister number 1 through number 5, all strands, 2 through 6, plus 7 through 12. 25 million years ago, during that time period. Again, Voyager, Secrets of Amenti, Volume 2, page 445. And, yeah, so we're talking, yeah, race number and cloister. So the current post-Atlantean epoch with Steiner. Okay. The Old Egyptian Chaldean Age. Excuse me. We're at the half an hour mark too, pretty close to it. Woo. The old Egyptian Chaldean age. During the age of Taurus, we became a bit more watered down in our connection with the cosmic consciousness as we now split into a threefold religious system of Philo, Sophia, religion. While there was still the divine love of the Sophia cosmic wisdom, this became something no longer focused on from within one's own being. As the intellect developed, the focus moved out to the starry sky, or starry heavens. Interesting side note. According to the Guardian Alliance, no real space exists. Okay. When we are connected and more attuned, okay, with who we are, everything appears closer, like from within us, right? Eternal core of our being within us. When we go lower in density, more materialistic, we become evolved in a world within a vast space of this reflected holographic reality. Okay, astrology was birthed, but this was still not the materialized version of today. We are still deeply connected to the cosmic universal consciousness, divine wisdom. Only as our eye developed did we begin to view the cosmic script to determine our destiny in life. Okay, the associated astrological age, again Steiner, Taurus, the bull, Earth, female, larynx, spoken word, object of the word things out of the universe. Sound tones that move objects, song, pre-sound, the planet Venus, heart, stomach, and cosmic word felt resounded in this spot. Examples of numerology and scales developed during these cycles. Okay. Or during this, cycle. Reference to the apocalypse. Steiner, the black horse of intellect upon which man rode carrying scales. The measuring of value, the weighing of the soul. Are you light as a feather or burdened with heavy miasmic karma? Okay. The next cycle, the Kale Eyaga, atomic, liquid, light, vapor state of the outer radon domain, aka light body structure creation of the Maharata D12 Christos. We are now hitting the Atlantean epoch, correlates to this cycle. The end of the atomic downstepping cycles of forming the atomic structure. Okay. Amenti mission seeding 1. Number 4, the the group soul, root group soul, race number of Elanians, strand 3, 9 million years ago. Cloister number 4, Brenaua, Breanoua strands. Strands 3 plus 7 through 12. 12 million years ago. Voyager, Secrets of Amenti, Volume 2, page 45. Okay. The current post-Atlantean epoch. All right. Steiner. The old Greco-Roman age. The age of Aries was when we turned back into the darkness of the earth, no longer looking at the starry sky the same way as before. We studied geosophy, earth wisdom with their pantheon of gods. Astrological age of Aries, again Steiner's perspective, ram, head, upper brow, pineal, thoughts, head, knowledge, micro, head, reproduction of the macro holographic, another way of saying holographic reality, macrocosmos, the head culture reached its high point, brought the human being into a special relationship with the universe, evolving gradually into a fully fledged head and thinking, culture, high developed reflecting apparatus, needs to keep a balance between thinking, reflecting device, and reality. Steiner talks a lot about how basically the brain's a reflecting apparatus. I don't know how to say it. It's a reflecting of reality. You're not really seeing it, you're seeing a reflection. A holographic projection of it. He calls it the reflecting apparatus. Planet Mars. The head aggressiveness, okay, because we're talking Mars, the head aggressiveness combination in forming relationships with the world. There is me or I and the rest of the world. This outer world is a dangerous place with warlike cultures. The head is an image of the starry heavens. The head brain functions on Earth as a reflecting apparatus, thinking tool, connecting the macrocosm and the microcosm with the macrocosm, divine wisdom. The integration of the birth to death and death to new life cycles. Basically reincarnational cycles. Steiner really gets into when you pass on, there's a process of different things you go through in development and really connecting to the higher forces and the beings, the hierarchical beings, and you learn certain things in blah, 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 and then you come back and you apply them in the 3D, and then you learn things from the 3D, and then you just go through these different cycles in and out to evolve. It's just not one or the other, it's both together, which I think is fascinating and very, very key to understanding esoterica initiation science. Okay, reference to the apocalypse. The pale horse of the intellect upon which man rides, death and hell, becomes a master over the rebirth cycle. You can choose life of the Christos or death of the eighth sphere, phantom earth. In the next cycle, we descend into the etheric spirit body or ascend out of the atomic matter. It depends on which direction you come from. In the Adashi return cycles, right? Going down and back up. And down and back up. It's spiraling, spiraling, spiraling. Okay. Next cycle. Okay, yeah, we are... I think, yeah, that was... Yeah, okay, we're now going up. So they call them now the Eyana, E-Y-A-N-A. So we're in the Eyana, E-Y-A-N-A cycles, okay, of spiraling back up. Pre-matter Rasha dark matter template of the etheric spirit body, core domain. The current post-Atlantean epoch could be related to this cycle, but I have not touched on how we are running on a Titius Modius time wave that has reversed back on itself. Okay. It may be that after the Atlantean epoch, we should have cycled right into the age of Jupiter. Okay. I don't know. All I know is it's off. Okay. Also, in Steiner's work, there is no mention of the other two seedings. Okay. So also added is that all three seedings documented in Voyagers are actuality, when it really comes down to it, artificial insertions from when we fell back in time from Terra 550 million years ago. So, our ancient Earth, okay, to our ancient Earth, we have been continuously recapitulating through the ancient Earth's life cycles. How is that? So how does that feel like? Oh shit, right? So we're going through these cycles that we just went through. And we went through all the way up into Terra. There's Gaia, Aramatena, okay, and then we're going into the Janus, out in the Rishi levels and on out. Yet, Terra itself has been struggling and had gone through a number of different sort of hybrid reseedings itself before it got compromised and broke apart a bit, and the Sphere of Amenti program was put in place, coming back into planet Earth, which also incorporates into a planet called Eartha, and there's a whole mechanics with that. But we've been cycling within that 3 times. From what I understand, we're not going to do a 4th one, although it was initially in the cards, so to speak, to do that. So yeah, it makes it a little confusing. But bottom line is we still have these cycles. We're just not going through them authentically or organically. I think that's the right word to say. But again, we're eternal beings, so, hey, we're going to get there. All right, the current post-Atlantean epoch, Steiner. So the 15th century current age of the Germanic consciousness soul. The Piscean age brought in the consciousness soul that has distanced itself from the divine cosmology and the earth wisdom that we talked about in previous cycle. There is a focus on abstract thought, development of the intellect. From this perspective, we view the cosmic and earth forces through science, mathematics, astrology, and astronomy. Philosophy is no longer about the divine love connection with our divine wisdom. It became materialistic, abstract thinking of trying to explain who we are. Nothing new has been seen for really a very long time, just regurgitations of what's already been done and saying it slightly differently. The astrological age of Piscean consciousness soul, the feet, the stability, and fruits of the earth alchemy. The planet Jupiter, the human brow forehead, can utilize the forces of the head to refine and encompass that which was brought to them from the opposite side of spirit in a grounded, stable experience, making themselves into the spirit human body alchemic. Alchemic. Human head countenance word formation is all connected with spirituality for this lifetime. Birth to death, a vulnerable time to mess up. The Jupiter forces are to transform the forces coming to Earth. Attentiveness, equaling standing firm footing for the Earth, stable and strong, to use the cosmic mind to bring in the cosmos internally, stabilizing in the Earth. Okay. Reference to the apocalypse. Okay, so from Steiner's perspective, so no longer could horses of intellect represent the cycles below the altar of connection with spirit. One has to hold steady and allow it to maturate and ripen, or during the gestation period, shed off the old skin of the material atomic body to prepare for the transfiguration of the next epoch of evolution. Okay. The next cycle is Eyaga, Catheric, I should say, etheric, template of the Adonic inner domain, transfiguration to new form, fire pineal vision, possibly correlates with the Jupiter epoch. Okay, that's what I think, at any rate. Or at least that's what we're going to have happen. The current post-Atlantean epoch, Steiner. Okay, so the 6th, which is currently now, or will be in the future. The sixth Russian age of. Okay, you get what I'm doing. I'm doing the main original cycle. I guess it's this way. And then overlaying it with the current post-Atlantean epoch cycle because it still runs the same basic structure, energetic structure. Okay, because they always continue cycling. Okay, all right, so the sixth Russian, or I should say Slavic, I said Russian, but really Slavic is more accurate. The sixth Slavic age of Philadelphia brotherly love. Am I my brother's keeper? And again, when I said the dramatic, another way of saying that is the English speaking. Because really in England, German ancestry is kind of is very predominant. Okay. All right. Am I my brother's keeper of the astral, right? They're two brothers, the astral ego and the I am spirit ego. Density 1, density 2. Okay? Those who have passed through the war against all, and that's them figuring it out and finally maybe getting actually back into Terra, or actually we're bypassing Terra. Anyway, evolving out in whatever this new system's going to be, making it through that inner war that gets manifested outwards, right? The war against all. Oh lordy, I think I said that. Okay, so, and again, I note, the inner war between self, ego, astral, and the I spirit self is reflected in our outer relationships in the earthly plane. Depending on how we make out through this current cycle will determine how we are seen by each other. Will we be seen as brotherly love? Full of understanding for spiritual worlds, filled with spirit of brotherly love, spiritual knowledge? A more evolved ego united with the ego and I? We will reap the fruits of our previous epoch ages that were ripened in the sixth epoch. So all those cycles kind of come to a head at this point. Okay. And he really does get into a lot of detail. I'm not sure how much I'm going to get into it when I do it. Oh, with this fourth evolution. Okay. There will be a spiritual marriage between West and East. The foundation for new civilizations, culture emerging out of the war against all as the post-Atlantean civilization merged out of the Great Flood. A balance between the male and female forces. And then another note. Whoops. As a human planetary race, we have not been able to disconnect from the Fibonacci spiral to reconnect with the crystal spiral. Again, we are on our third seeding, reversing backwards in the cycling process, becoming more and more materialistic instead of spiritualized. These cycles are also correlate to the crystal spirals. Okay, these cycles that we're talking about actually correlates with the crystal spirals, to which, and I know this past November was actually initiation of actually splitting us off the Fibonacci spiral and back onto the crystal spiral. We've been working on it. That's got a little bit why I got knocked in the butt. So anyway, waking up more, but actually these cycles, and that's why I'm kind of trying, I don't want to, that other Eyaga thing I think fits with the Fibonacci cycles, not with the crystal spiral. So correlates to the crystal spirals, to which at a certain point in history we were split off at the seventh cycle to then run on the Fibonacci cycle, which has put us in a continuous vampiring loop. okay, which we're actually, the seventh age will be that split point. Which has put us in a continuous vampiring time loop. I get the impression that the post-Atlantean epoch is an artificial back loop cycle, meaning the astrological relationship could be connected to the Fibonacci spiral and not the crystal spiral. But in that, the second creation finite mechanics cannot create anything organic. Always remember that. I would say the zodiac is ours, but it may be somewhat out of alignment, right? We didn't start on the Cancer is not natural. Okay? We should have cycled through the full Atlantean epochs. It should have had its full cycle and then started in the beginning with the next cycle, but there's something off, okay? Okay. Sorry. We are supposed to be farther along in our development back into Terra long ago. Laugh out loud. Not that we need to rush and that we are eternal beings, but there is a certain movement of cycles, and we're lagging. And the last few years, 10 years, well, more than that, but really the last 10 years of different things the Guardian Alliance have been doing to kind of try to bump things up a notch to actually move us along. Because the more I'm looking at it, Steiner gave a time frame when we were to move into the sixth age, but I think we really should already be in the sixth age. It's the impression I get looking at things. But anyway, the astrological sign for this cycle is Aquarius. The time of living in the realm of possibility and wanting others to get there too. And I got that from USA Today. Steiner states it will arrive in 3573 AD equivalent, somewhere in that time frame, but will evolve over many years. I would say we are in the threshold of the war against all right now, aka the spiritual war or information war or of the One World Order with their AI technology agenda. Each moment we have choices on how we live our lives. There is nothing wrong with technology as long as it doesn't become your God, right? As long as you don't think aliens with their technology will save you. We can focus on bringing in the age of Philadelphia by finding peace within our own brotherly Cain and Abel soul forces. Again, that's talked about in the Evolution of the Soul Part 2 with the Cain and Abel. All right. How are we doing? Oh gosh, we're almost at an hour. Okay. Sorry. The Shalayana, the telluric etheric template within the Edonic middle domain, it relates possibly to the Venus epoch. The current post-Atlantean epoch evolution that we're cycling through. The seventh American age, lukewarm. Eventually the evil streams will be led over to good. Okay, this is where the split. When I said seventh age, this split. We keep splitting off at the seventh part. The seventh American age, lukewarm. Eventually the evil streams will be led over to the good by the good race stream. The principal task will be to rescue those still wanting to fight each other impulsively. To be masters of the occult worlds, we must utilize higher forces to shift those stuck in the evil. Those stuck in the evil who went down too many rabbit holes can transcend back out by their brother I, spirit self, right? Because really nobody saves you but you. Through the knowledge gained, we can also pull out those stuck in the eighth sphere for a very long time to make their way out. Okay, that have been stuck there, we can get them out. Note, evil helps us to see the deeper bearing, the choices that we make, which ones take us in which direction. God, I can't say this. Evil helps us to see the deeper bearing, the choices that we make, which ones take us which direction, and in the end, we can always find ourselves back again. Okay. The astrological age of Capricorn, a time of ambition and termination within the material realm at a decadent level, as in materialism at its darker side. Nothing really creative during this age, a lull or transition point of one epoch ending and another beginning. And then we go into the Eyaga, atmic, etheric, atmic etheric template within the radonic outer spirit domain. The epoch Steiner, Vulcan epoch. At this point, can't see, there isn't seeing into the future reality yet. It might possibly correlate to density 2 Terra. A new epoch cycle will begin again as we go from materialized to spiritualized. So again, hitting into possibly Terra, density 2. And then it starts at its heyday with its more spiritual and evolves to become more physical, which I think that's when it went to shit, when it fell apart. But anyway, we're going to get there. Okay, we're getting to summary. In summary. Okay. The more I study this information, the more I realize how we are evolving from a new angelic freedom spirit race. We are becoming, bit by bit, our own stewards of the new form constant Manu Earth plane. The celestial star beings within and without this time matrix are giving the reins, to, so to speak, to our destiny into our hands. Okay. There is no longer returning to our roots or those returning home. I know, we were like, no. Well, I should say, can one really go back home? We can visit where we came from, and some people do well visiting their childhood homes, reliving where they grew up. But in the end, as an adult, one must put aside their childish ways and step into their newly evolved adulthood to expand into a new creation, taking with one the heart and soul of their roots. Okay? And I know particularly those of us in the chaos community, or just any new agey kind of as well as not to say chaos is new agey, as well as the new agey guys, this thing of leaving Earth and we go someplace else because really we're so not at peace within. I mean, really it comes down to not really being at peace within. It's time, and that's where the Eastern doctrines are also really, really good to study, is learning how to just be at peace where you're at right now. And finding that peace, you can then create a positive, loving, wonderful reality, whatever that is, at whatever stage of development you are. Okay, part 4 of Evolution of the Soul will explore the revelations perspective from Steiner and Chelonic science to better understand the soul's evolution and how the epoch mechanics works. Thank you so much for participating. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. It really helps if you can like and share, to other people. Get it out, because I'm just kind of a little me, bringing it all out. And again, sometime in the new year, we'll get the 4th one out. Much love and peace. Katie Yoshiwanita, the HDR Navigator, helping others to connect with their multidimensional clan family. And okay, and I have I'm also going to attach, I haven't done it in the past, and I probably should go back to the other ones, of attaching my WordPress blog post of this. so, so that you can actually go through the whole transcript, basically transcript of it. All right. Thank you. Happy holidays. Love you guys. Take care. See you soon. Bless you. Again, link there'll be a link down below here as well for private sessions, seminar. There's also a link to connect with Ray's Productions, Rudolf Steiner, Press Audio. Bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.